a professional online. His name is Daniel Adeyemi. He's a financial analyst and a writer.
Yes, so education is all about learning, relearning, and unlearning. And I think without education, you just be stuck up in a bubble.
Okay, so now let's talk about the steps to take in acquiring that education. I know when you are entering the university, let's say you're in your 100 level, there are some goals that you should set. You know, it's advisable to set some goals, you know, on what you want to achieve. So what are the steps to take in acquiring education or taking a step towards your education?
So I think the first step, which might be overlooked, will be what you want to study. Is it something you want, or is it something that has been imposed on you? But then, having said that, either ways, I think the next thing, like you hinted, is to have a target, right? So you come into school and you say, okay, this is what I want to get out of school. I think the first thing should be to learn and understand the fundamental principles, because the world is changing really fast.
Yes,
and
very true.
Like they say, many of the things you learn before in school are outdated now. So I think it's having a realistic goal that this is what I want to have out of this course I'm taking or this training I'm taking. By the end of the day, I want to be able to do this. For schooling, it might have to do with a certain score or a certain degree, so on, first class, any of that. But I think the understanding should even take precedence over that.
You are a financial analyst, and I feel you'd be the right person to answer this question. We have financial experts, and we have people that studied this, but also there is me that did not study it, and I need to get a hold of my finances. I need to know what I am doing. I need to know the right savings for me. I need to know what kind of stocks, what kind of investments I should be doing to, you know, make me that next millionaire. But then I don't know anything about it. So how can I be educated?
Okay, so that's actually an interesting question. I agree with that. Financial education, in a sense, is a bit too, let me say, a bit too dense, or a bit too complicated for persons that don't have that background to understand. We just know when we're growing up that you should save your money. Everybody says you should invest. But then, how do you save? Do you just save in one place? And also, how do you invest? Where do you invest in? And all of that. So I think you are right when you say you've identified a problem. And in terms of that, I think it's a two-way thing. Either as a person, it's advisable to go for knowledge. So learning about... So there are different ways to invest, and there are different places. I think it will be to learn from a number of places. There are a number of persons and maybe companies that are putting out content around that. It will be helpful. Or the best thing, or one of the best things, is to turn to a friend or someone around you that you think, okay, what do you think about this? I think it's actually all about knowledge, and a number of persons are working towards making it easier for people to understand. They're trying to make it easy for people that are not really financially literate to be able to invest.
What financial advice would you give to such a person when it comes to saving up money to actualize that dream, that goal, when it comes to your career?
Well, education is quite expensive. So, education, generally should be, and schooling is quite expensive too. One advice, so usually the way most people start out is that you have your parents or your ward or someone
guardian,
providing for your school fees. And then after a while, when you're done with school, maybe if your parents or whoever is sponsoring you chooses to pay for your list for that degree, is fine. Or else they say, we are done. First of all, the need for, depending on what you study, depending on the field, the need for another degree is even questionable. Do you actually need another degree? Or do you just need to learn certain skill sets? Because the way it works, maybe not in every field, but in some fields, if you say you know something, the proof of you knowing it by what you do. So that means the end goal is to be able to do it. So if you can actually do a particular thing, it's given that you know it already. I mean, whether you went for a master's or not, just saying. But then, like I said, it's actually subject to the field you are in.
You're in.
So that's one. Yeah. So and there's a lot of content online. But then, not to digress from the question you asked. I think a lot of people, when you start working, it would be great to have savings aside for that. If you are going to sponsor it yourself, putting aside some sort of money for it. I think less online courses like masters, all of that, are actually cheaper than the ones where you have to travel.
Yes.
However, I think it's important to go for. I mean, I won't call it a fiscal masters. Let me call it a fiscal masters where you get to meet people, because a lot of times it's beyond just the course content. You also have to meet people. So you might want to opt for an online course or something like that. Then also there are scholarships.
You didn't talk about loans, because I know that a lot of students take loans to further their education,
Nigeria.
Taking that step towards the education, they take loans. And do you think it's advisable?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure. So I think I always associate loans with US, right, and other countries, but I don't know it's a thing where people take loans in Nigeria. But looking at it practically, I mean, it's totally doable. And I'm sure it's something that happens, but I just haven't met anybody who took a loan for schooling, and maybe my world is a bit too small. But yes, that's also possible. Persons that are working with companies, I mean, you might say, will sponsor education, and then...
I was going to say that. How about people that work in organizations?
Yes, I think I forgot about that. That's a form of loan, because you have to stay and be committed. I think that's also a good option. I forgot about that. For loan, say a typical loan from a bank or someone, well, you have to be certain that, you'll be able to repay the person back. Most likely, if you are going for study something, is because a lot of people do that because you want a better opportunity, and a better opportunity means more money or better money, which means you would have money to pay back. So that's actually something we're exploring. But I don't know if it's a thing where people actually take loans for education in Nigeria.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yes. Thank you for joining us this morning. How are you doing today?
Oh, pleasure. I'm very well, thank you.
As a child, now we're taking it from the perspective of a parent, because obviously from a child is your parents that make decisions for you as regards your education and the like. So when should they enroll a child into school as a parent?
It is important that everybody knows that education is in phases, and as also very important to know that education starts from when a child, is born. When we talk about schooling, there are different types actually. There is the preschool, there is kindergarten, there is the nursery primary. But what a child to actually join that primary school, that primary one, it is important to ensure that the child is well developed. Well developed mentally, well developed physically, well developed in so many areas. And it is always advisable for the child to be around 5 years or 6 years. So most times the first 5 years of their lives, they maybe experience maybe some sort of preschool, nursery school, or kindergarten. Depends on the kind of environment that the child and the parents are. At that point, the child cannot really make most decisions on their own. Parents are the one who make these decisions, and teachers have important roles to also play point in time.
It baffles me when I see parents that, push their kids too fast. A 5-year-old is meant to be in kindergarten, but already in primary school. In fact, primary 2, primary 3. I get the child might be a genius or might be very brilliant, and they want to, do the double promotion thing. So I want to know what is the right age to start elementary school per se?
So it's usually advisable for parents to allow their children to take their time. And, like I said earlier, 5, 6 years old are when a child is supposed to be in primary school. And some of the factors that I actually talked about will actually career people. We have a lot of, and increasingly in places like Lagos now, we have people who are too eager to get back to work. So they just want to find a way to get their kids to, some school, so that they can start going, and then they can pick them later in the day and all that, So that's why you see people enrolling their children at less than 1. Some parents also already get their kids to crèche or something at less than 1 year old, and then by the time they are 2 years old, they want them to be in nursery 1, and then by the time they are 3 year old, you want them to be in primary 1. So all of those things are actually not cool, because at the time that the child is getting to that stage, is not mentally ready. And you know, there are 3 major domains of education. It is not just affective. It's not just cognitive. So cognitive is just the ability of the child to read, to add numeracy, literacy, and all of these skills. But, you know, the essence of education is beyond cognition. It is also affective domain. How does the child feel? How does the child relate to other people? How do they think? You know, and then psychomotor, can the child move around? Can the child sit by themselves? Can they carry things by themselves? You know, can they use their, you know, organs and all that? So these are all of these things that are really very important that parents should also pay attention to before putting their kids in school before time.
You know, Omoblade mentioned promotions. Now, I want to know, is it ideal, is it right to give students double promotion in school? Is it, let's even first establish that fact first. Is it right? Okay, so
that's a very tough question, and the reason why it's tough for me to answer is because
you were giving.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Do you understand? So,
yes.
But, you know, like I said, now with my knowledge of developmental psychology and how education is, I would say that it is best to let the child go through the stages one after the other. Because, you know, when a child skips a stage, if the child is not incredibly smart and has the right support, it will really pay for it. It will pay for it, you know, in ways that they would never be able to imagine. And even with the right environment and all that, I mean, it's just okay to let the child take their time, develop.
To enjoy more interesting episodes of Tea or Coffee, then like and subscribe.